perhaps a student? Please tell us. So I see Mehmet from, of course, banking and finance. Yes. Consulting, education. So a lot of people from diverse background, banking, ICT. Very good. Thanks very much. My second question, and I will leave people to fintech. I see fintech. Excellent. Very well. And why did you decide to attend this event? Because perhaps you want to learn new things. Perhaps you're interested in speaking to learn more from the speakers. You want to be connected to them. Perhaps networking opportunities, or perhaps your boss forces you to join. Tell us more about why you decide to attend this event. You want to learn more. Very good, Siapa. Thanks very much. Thanks very much for giving me your answers. Very, learn new things, I see. Excellent. I was in Kuala Lumpur last year as we were working closely with Asian Banking School and with MDEC also. And today we are trying new ways to bring people still together online. We're very pleased to be working closely with both MDEC and ABS in our mission of education in finance and technology and in fintech. And at CFT, we've been extremely vocal for many years already about the importance of upskilling and reskilling workforce. That's why we're working with them in this mission. So even before COVID-19, we spent a lot of time convincing people about the everlasting list of reasons to upskill. So let me share in the next few minutes with all of you my presentation about this reskilling urgency, from why to how. In the past few months, the pandemic has accelerated the digital transformation for all industries, and in particular finance. Adapting to our digital world is now, therefore more critical than ever, as we have seen change, massive change coming, with millions now finding themselves with inadequate skills. It's our purpose at the CFT to help people and organizations upskill in order to help them with the next move. At the same time that digitalization is happening, this health crisis is morphing into a social one, with unemployment rising fast. The risk of having a large part of the population out of work and with outdated skills, with preventing them from finding a good job, is therefore real. Before COVID, we spent a lot of time convincing people about upskilling. Today, with COVID-19, it's not about the why anymore, as it's clear. It's a necessity, but it's the how. So let me, in a few minutes, share with you the reason why I believe we should address the how. So with the coronavirus at its peak, is no longer about the how. It's not longer about the why, it's about the how. So this McKinsey, it's a study from McKinsey, a global survey that was done in February 2020. It shows basically the skills gap conducted, and it shows that almost 50% of the workforce is experiencing a skill gap, which is the rest of the workforce following through with this trend in the next 3 to 6 years. February was a month before the pandemic took its toll of the world workforce. Can you imagine what the study would have conducted even just a month after? So today with COVID-19, things are changing totally the landscape. We are now experiencing work from home, something that most of the people perhaps didn't even conceive 6 months ago. And of course, digitalization of our businesses at speed record. So this only makes the need to understand digital an imperative that clearly shows that upskilling and reskilling is now mandatory. And if I go deeper and we analyze the finance industry, where we upskill thousands of individuals on fintech, the data is no better. So we took the Coursera Global Index Skills Survey, which surveyed 38 million participants, with the finance industry clearly shows it's ill-prepared for this digital revolution. For an industry where technology is a radical disruptor, we see a tremendous breach in terms of current skill and knowledge on business and finance, and the same on technology and data science. The gap and lack are alarming. And it's clear, human investment is now the best investment we can make. But how? How do we do that? It's not about the why anymore, but the how. So you perhaps as individuals, how can I update my skills? The how as an individual, how do I stay relevant? What is the best way for me to stay ahead? Hundreds of these questions like this might be peeling in your mind and fogging your thinking. As I mentioned, how you upskill right now is truly the question you should be asking yourself, and thus finding the correct answer is of great importance. As people try to discover their how during this lockdown, e-learning has been on the rise. You've probably seen this. In times of social distancing, online education seems like the best bet on yourself. More and more people have surfed the internet in the search of what will allow them to upskill and give an edge in the job market forming post-pandemic. However, we all seem to prefer learning with a teacher in the same room we are in. On average, only 10% of people complete an online program. But why? Apparent reasons are lack of quality of those online courses and an unstructured learning program that can dissuade learners from investing their much valued time into something not yielding results. However, not everything is lost. E-learning has this capacity to become your tool to upskill during these times. You just need to find the right courses that are truly a learning experience. This is what we do at CFTE on a daily basis. We spend hours and hours thinking of ways to interact with our learners, to make our learners learning better, more enjoyable, and with excellent industry experts. Our courses on fintech, on AI in finance, are curated with very good industry experts from all around the world, with people from academics, from leading organizations, startups, and universities, to bring the best relevant knowledge to our learners. We engage professionals committed to their upskilling with short videos and curated readings, as we are all fostering conversation so that the learning experience is what they expect for their time and effort. So we have 70,000 professionals who have trusted us with their upskilling. I shared about the individuals, but what's happening for the organizations? How do I train thousands of employees at the same time? How COVID has accelerated digital transformation. Organizations usually allocate less than 1% of their IT budget in preparing employees for digital. How will these add up with this digital transformation? This current crisis is accelerating. When we talk to financial institutions, to the bank, we spend a lot of time answering how to go about reskilling the employees, and the task is challenging. Our discussions are around what are the skills needed? What's the learning path people should take depending on their jobs? How do I segment my employees into groups? What kind of learning should we facilitate if we are in wealth management, on trading, on compliance, etc.? At CFTE, we take responsibility for helping our corporate clients answer these questions and providing them with the tools they need to upskill their human capital. Until today, over 40 major financial institutions in the world, like CAMB, OCBC Bank, UOB, Citi, today also present, who have trusted CFTE to show them how to upskill their people in preparation for the digital revolution, so present today. But corporations that fail to upskill their employees should keep wondering how they are going to prepare their people and their business for this new world that is forming. So I talked and I tried to answer the question on how to upskill yourself as an individual and how to upskill your entire human capital in your organization is already hard enough. How do you go about supporting millions of citizens reskilling and upskilling? Let's take the example of the UK. The UK, where today 9 million are in furlough, supported by the government, because some of the people are staying at home at the moment without the possibility of physically doing their jobs. The government is artificially supporting these people. However, some of these 9 million people won't be able to return to their jobs anytime soon, or their jobs might not exist anymore. How do we deal with this as many people being left behind? Reskilling and upskilling our national workforce should be an ongoing task. We are quick to think we'll have time to prepare people to the future of work, but COVID has accelerated things. When people thought we have 6 years to plan our reskilling, we now only have 6 months to adapt. And the pressing question is how to go about it. So CFT, with our objective of education at scale and experience of working with governments around the world, has the objective to accelerate new governments' initiatives. We have had the chance to be working closely with a few leading organizations and governments who share the same vision as we do at CFT, from Budapest Institute of Banking, the Central Bank of Hungary, Hong Kong Cyberport, ADGM from Abu Dhabi, Singapore, IBF, Nanyang Polytechnic, and of course, Asian Banking School in Malaysia. And MDEC helped them upskill their people. Let me just share with you one example. There are quite a bit, but Singapore as an example. There's this new 2 billion jobs and training package, including 25,000 traineeship and 30,000 skills training opportunities, will be created opportunities for workers affected by COVID. And for us, we've been working closely with them, which is a training arm of the MAS, the regulator, of giving a proper training for all the professionals in finance with a concrete plan. 1,000 courses are being subsidized by the government. I will share a very concrete concept. If you are Singaporean or PR today, you can take some of the CFT courses up to 70%. If you are above 40-year-old, you'll have the help up to 95%. And today, with the plan with COVID, you get supported at 95%, so almost learning for free. I will, of course, spend a lot of time talking and sharing about what the initiative in Malaysia. The time is now. All this time, there are questions we need to answer. What is the new behavior of professional learners? What are the types of programs we should be creating? What policies are in place to address this reskilling mission? The time of reskilling and upskilling couldn't be more pressing than now. How we go about this challenge and what will mark our success in preparing the workforce of the future. Thanks very much for listening to me.
So thank you, Truman Nguyen, co-founder of CFTE, for the keynote speech. And to the audience, I hope you found this insightful. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to use the Zoom chat box below, and my colleagues will be there to assist you. So moving on to the second agenda of the day, Truman will now be joined with 3 of our guest speakers. So please let me first invite Maria Kaur, Head of Digital and Data Workforce at MDEC, Ming Chin, Head of Regional Learning and Development at CIMB, and finally we have Manmeet Singh, Digital Skills Practice Lead at Citibank. I'd like to thank all the speakers for being a part of today's discussion, as I am equally as excited as the audience for this panel. So going back to Truman, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Junji. Thank you very much for the introduction. And what I would love to say, audience, is to keep this as interactive as possible. Please ask your questions in the chat box below, and my team will be picking them and answering them during the Q&A. Something I've been speaking about for many, many years, and this is part of CFT motto as well. In the tech world, is all about the people. As Klaus Schwab for the World Economic Forum explained in the 2018 Future of Jobs report, it's critical that individuals take a proactive approach to their own lifelong learning. In addition, businesses and government need to actively support workforces in learning and developing skills. We'll talk about this. Automation and AI will generate prosperity and millions of new jobs, but as many as 375 million people worldwide will need to shift occupational categories and upgrade skills during the transition. We need talent, including the talent of those who are transitioning, those who took a career break, or senior professionals who finished their studies a long time ago, but can add unique perspective, and especially people who have different backgrounds. I'm very, very pleased to be welcoming our partners and speakers today about talking about the skills that is perhaps the most relevant in demand in the future. Very welcome to introduce you, and Maria from MDEC, Head of Digital and Data Workforce. Welcoming Min Chin, CIMB Head Regional Learning and Development, and Mamet Singh, City Digital Skills Practice Area Lead. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Yes, so before we start, could I perhaps ask the three of you to intro yourself and perhaps intro your own career journey? And I'll probably ask Maria if you can start, and then Minchin and following up with Mamet. Thanks.
Sure. Thanks, Traman and CFTE for the opportunities to be part of today's panel. A very good evening, everyone, or very good morning to those in London. I'm Maria from the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation, or MDEC. MDEC started more than 20 years ago as the lead agency to drive digital economy in Malaysia under the purview of the Ministry of Communications and Multimedia. It's our mandate to ensure Malaysia makes the digital leap into the fourth industrial revolution to drive shared prosperity and firmly establish Malaysia as the heart of the digital ASEAN. I've been with MDEC for more than 15 years, leading and managing projects related to talent, and passionate about talent development. Previously, my focus was more on data professionals, but this year my scope has been expanded to include digital workforce as well. I currently head the digital and data workforce team at MDEC. A bit on COVID, like what Traman said, it has affected all of us. Started to work from home. We have been very busy planning new initiatives to help those affected, because a lot of workforce are affected by the pandemic. And I will explain more later on what our initiatives are. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Minchin, would you like to share about your own career journey with everyone?
Yes, sure. Good afternoon, everyone, and also good morning to our UK folks as well. Thank you, Tram, CFTE, and also MDEC for inviting me today for today's session. Well, I was in PricewaterhouseCoopers for 12 years. So half the time I was in assurance and half the time I was in learning and development there. And now just in the blink of an eye, I have been in CIMB Group for 9 years. So I have about 15 years of experience in the area of people development. My passion is really to see people develop and grow to their fullest potential. So in CIMB, I have spent most of my time future-proofing our workforce and also focusing on the career pathing of our employees via our CIMB University, a virtual university which is co-created with our business leaders. Thank you.
Thanks, Minchin. Mamet, would you like to share about your journey?
Sure. Hi, my name is Manmeet and I'm part of City Learning. So City is, of course, a vast organization, and one of the key tasks in my current role as digital skills practice area is to connect the dots across City franchise there are multiple digital initiatives happening, focusing on upskilling of employees. And my job is to be the connecting dot for all of those initiatives. I work with the learning advisors to help them help them understand what's happening out there with vendors like you, as well as so many other organizations who are working in this area. And my career journey has been interesting. Actually, I have 16 years of experience in HR. I started, as a HR journalist. My first job was actually hiring and recruiting from campuses. And from there on, I moved on to learning and development. So past 9 years have been focused on learning and development. In my previous organizations, I have set up the entire e-learning enterprise for those organizations. So it was interesting when you talked about e-learning and how much progress has happened actually in terms of e-learning. So this is a bit about my profile.
Thanks, Mehmet. Thanks. And I think my first question could be, how has COVID impacted your work? If you can spend a little bit of time sharing, since COVID happened, what has changed and how COVID has impacted your work in general? Perhaps I can ask Maria and then Minchin and Mehmet, and then and please feel free to also share and discuss. Yes.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier on, COVID definitely has made all of us have to work from home, right? I think most of us must agree that even work from home, perhaps the working hours is even longer, especially in this space that we are looking into the interests of the workforce. A lot of people are impacted. So we run a few or initiated a few initiatives, like for example, My Digital Workforce Movement, which we launched last week, right? Just to share a bit of the this workforce, My Digital Workforce Movement, when we launched it last week in conjunction with the My Digital Workforce Week. We have more than 60 industry speakers in 20 webinars that we share about what are the demands for digital jobs, career opportunities, and also we have satellite events. In fact, today's event is one of the satellite events in conjunction with the My Digital Workforce Week. I can see that a lot of our training partners has also shifted from the physical training to online, right? So it's very important right now that due to the social distancing and restricted MCO, most of the trainings are conducted online. And I also noticed that most of the training courses right now are into bite size as well, right? Because I think webinar, the span of interest is shorter. You have to try ways to make it more engaging. So we also work closely with partners. Some of them are sharing short webinars, whether it's free or it's a paid courses. So I think there's a shift in terms of how Malaysians is looking at ways to conduct their business. They have to also look into digital platform and so on.
Thanks. Thanks very much. Very insightful. And I'm very impressed by this, whole week, last week, this week, about, what you've done for the digital workforce. It's very, very, very impressive. And thanks very much for including us part of this initiative. Minchin, would you like to share about, how COVID has impacted within your work?
Yeah, actually it's very similar to what Maria has shared as well. So a lot of people are still working from home. So I would say that COVID has really sped up our digitalization of efforts, like what you have said as well. So in terms of learning specifically, almost overnight our trainers, whether it's external or internal, we had to learn how to train virtually. For some of us, they are actually totally new skill sets. So even our employees have to learn how to use the webinar platform to learn. Because in the past, most of our training were conducted via e-learning or classroom. So currently, we have been actively promoting virtual and mobile learning. So we work with our strategic learning providers. One of them, of course, is CFTE, and also internal subject matter experts and leaders to roll out programs virtually. And some of the contents are also pumped into our gamified mobile learning app. Because especially the younger ones seems to be enjoying learning via mobile. So we also encourage our employees to explore the offerings of digital learning content providers such as Coursera and all. So overall, I would say COVID has really sped up our efforts in promoting virtual and mobile learning. And this has enabled us to train at scale, allowing our employees to learn anytime, anywhere at a lower cost. And another advantage is they are still able to learn from the experts and leaders around the world. So that's all from me.
Thanks, Minchin. Mamet, would you like to share?
Yes, absolutely. And I would like to share also how it's impacted my life, both work and life. I think when it comes to work, it's not changed much for me because I have been now in a role where I have been interacting across the globe with various colleagues, and my role, I really didn't have anybody in office to interact with, except the fact that they were my ex-colleagues. But since the role that I do is global, I virtually started working 2 years back in terms of work from home and work from office and working virtually from anywhere. So personally, it has been not that challenging. The only thing is, as Ming-Chin said, that there's so many of my colleagues who were earlier doing classroom training now have to reorient themselves to be able to deliver virtually, and facilitating virtually is not easy. You have to amp up your the entire energy levels. So some of the initiatives where I've been involved in is largely around getting employees to be ready for work, ready for work from home. And it's been a real surprise for me seeing that though city is some I would say a technologically savvy workforce, has a technologically savvy workforce, but there's still so many of our colleagues who were struggling with some of the basic things like Maria and Ming talked about, And personally for me, it's like what's strange is how family life and work life have intermingled. I was on a call, a very serious call with, my boss, and suddenly my daughter came and she wanted me to repair her Barbie doll. so so it's become I guess it's true for everybody. Our work lives and our family lives have kind of mixed up, and it's become difficult to manage that specific piece. But otherwise, I think people are getting used to now working virtually, especially those who are knowledge workers.
No, thanks. Very, very true. My second question, and that could be probably not this one, but can you share a little bit more? Perhaps perhaps you mentioned, or Mehmet as well. You are playing a big role in transforming the learning and development. You have changed a lot, and I think there's a lot of things that have changed. I guess your strategy into making sure there's a learning culture part of your organization. Could you please perhaps share with us your upskilling and reskilling initiative? Perhaps has changed, or has stayed the same, or has you are actually considering a new way? Could you share a little bit more with us?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the overall digital transformation journey, there's not much that has changed, except for the fact that there's a recognition that there are, people have really not found it easy to transition into into a completely digital work. And it's possibly also because of the challenges that are there in terms of how we connect virtually. It's far easier to connect physically with somebody, build trust. So those are the softer elements which are actually far more difficult to replicate in a virtual environment. Those are specific challenges. When we started this year, one of the key tasks that we worked on was how do we enable employees to work in a smarter manner in in a virtual environment. So we built a lot of resources around virtual work, around tips, guidelines in terms of how to manage that. In terms of the digital mindset aspects, much of our resources were already virtual. We had pathways, so we have Degreed as a platform available, which helps us deliver multiple topics through pathways. Of course, we did a pilot with CFTE for AI and finance with some of our private bankers, and that was again asynchronous. I guess it's for specifically for digital resources, it's not been much of a change, but the key challenge has been how do we get the rest of the employees to start using some of these resources. You talked about Coursera and having low uptake. I think some of the similar challenges exist even in corporates where people start something, but it's difficult for them to complete it because of competing things like work and everything coming together and in the same one machine that we are currently now working with.
Thanks, Mehmet. Minchin, you shared about, could you please share about your upskilling and reskilling perhaps framework that you have put in place during the COVID and tell us a little bit more about this as well.
So in CIMB, we have actually launched our Future of Work Center, which provides an end-to-end integrated process to facilitate three things mainly: upskilling, reskilling, and mobility. So the mobility I'm talking about refers to both internal and external mobility as well. So for upskilling and reskilling, we do it via 3D Academy. So this 3D Academy stands for three things: digital, data, and skill set. So this academy focuses on building these three sets. So in this academy, employees are able to take part in various development courses. So we have foundation, we have intermediate, and we have advanced courses. We provide them with either career boosting or career changing opportunities in order to stay relevant. So for mobility, we facilitate internal mobility into in-demand masters or data engineers or data scientists. So after attending training, we encourage our employees to put their new skills to test for a period of 3 to 6 months. So they try out these new future jobs for a couple of months. If they like the new job, then they can stay on. If not, they can go back to their current jobs. But for those employees who come and tell us that, hey, they want to try something different beyond banking, we provide them beyond banking opportunities as well. So we have staff rejuvenation program where we allow them to explore other opportunities with the option to return to the bank. So if they, after going out, doing their own business, if they find that they want to return back to CIMB, they can do so. So these are the part of our Future of Work Center. So our aspiration is really to have at least 30% of our employees with 3D skills by 2023. That's our CIMB's aspiration.
Thanks, Minchin. Maria, you're heading MDEC, and I would love to hear if you could share, your framework, your thought on upskilling, reskilling from MDEC perspective, and perhaps, jumping onto the second question would be, what are, from your point of view, opportunities and perhaps challenges that you see in this whole digital transformation journey?
Sure, thanks. As I mentioned earlier on, recently we just launched the My Digital Workforce movement. So the main objective is for us to drive mass awareness on the urgency for digital reskilling for Malaysian workforce. We also want to galvanize public and private sector to come together to catalyze and also scale the digital reskilling and also equip the Malaysian workforce with digital skills for career and also income continuity. So among the initiatives that we launched last week as well is the Digital Skills Training Directory. So this Digital Skills Training Directory is a catalog, or it lists down courses that are in demand, which is already vetted through by industry experts, and the objective is to help Malaysians to select digital training programs that best suits their needs and interests. So currently we have approved 173 courses by 43 training partners, and in fact Perkeso has also recognized some of these programs and incentivized those people who want to attend the training under this list. Currently the list covers digital tech training courses in the category of data, cybersecurity, software development, animation, and games. Yeah. So besides that, we also, since March this year, we have a Let's Learn Digital campaign in collaboration with Coursera to help those unemployed Malaysians. As of today, more than 18,000 of unemployed already signed up for the program, and more than 100,000 hours has been spent learning by these people. In fact, we have some success stories, like a mother of two that after joining the campaign, learned a few modules and helped her to increase her knowledge, and she's able now to get a gig job, as a freelancer, right? So for this Coursera program, good news is we have spoken to Coursera. Since the response is good, we are extending the registration deadline from end of this month to 31st of October. So the access is until end of the year, whereby Coursera provide more than 3,800 courses, which includes professional certification from AWS, Google, or Intel, or SAS. So that is something that we do to help to encourage unemployed Malaysians to learn online. Last initiative that we have is also, it comes to reskilling, upskilling. The motivation behind it is for people to get jobs, right? To get income. So we feel that the job portion is also very important. That's why we have the My Digital Workforce Jobs platform, where we aggregate digital jobs in partnership with WOPS and HAZE. These are two recruitment agency and platform that we work with currently. In future, we would like to add more. So there are more than 2,000 digital jobs available on that platform currently. And it's not only limited to technical, they also have non-technical, particularly for the global businesses services area. So on the question on the challenges that I can see for digital transformation, one of it could be, sometimes I feel digital transformation is not about technology, right? Technology tools are there, but the most important is the people, the employee that we have. And it could be one of the main challenges is the employee pushback, because human as a nature, we like routines, right? Not only baby like routines, right? We also like routines, but it makes us feel comfortable. So that's why there's a term called comfort zone, right? We are all in comfort zone. But when it comes to digital transformation, it's a disruption, right? Sometimes people don't like disruption, and employees might feel threatened. So that is why it's required in terms of upskilling and reskilling. We have to equip them with the right skills so that they know, they are comfortable with. So in my opinion, lifelong learning is very important, right? Whether you like it or not, change is going to be there. We have to see change not as a burden, but some things that we have to get used to it. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. Thank you.
No, so true, Maria. Totally agree with you. Change can be quite scary. And Mehmet, Minchin, would you like to share what you see? What are the opportunities and perhaps challenges in this digital transformation journey?
Yeah, I think I would like to say that what Maria said is so true in the sense that one of the key challenges in banking that we are seeing is, though banking is something which is now completely fundamentally changed because of technology, there are still a lot of areas where we actually have a huge scope of automation. And as this automation progresses, a lot of employees are feeling threatened because of that. Today, there is a rapid progress in terms of robotic process automation in areas like operations in banking. And those are the employees who are feeling the most threatened. But I think equally, we have started seeing employees becoming more aware of the fact that the shelf life of jobs is not more than 5 to 8 years at best. I know that LinkedIn published last year. LinkedIn published the 15 most promising jobs of 2019. So the top 5 were data scientists, the product designer, customer success manager. All these jobs didn't exist 5 years back. There was nobody used to talk about data scientists, or even if they existed, there were very, very few people who were able to do that. And it makes me wonder, will these jobs last the next 5 years? It's likely it won't. Because the sheer pace of technology is even making people who are technologists themselves in those roles redundant. The programming languages which they were conversant with are no longer relevant now. and they have to relearn again. So I guess one of the key skill sets for future employees in my mind would be this curiosity and this habit of learning, without bothering about what jobs and what skills will become most relevant, but just keep on learning, keep on building their skills so that they remain relevant.
Thanks, Mohammed. And that's exactly the next questions, and I will mention you can share also, what you see as opportunities and challenge, but what are the skills needed today to be part of this future of finance? Can you share from, even how has COVID-19 changed the demand for certain skills that would be valuable even after the pandemic? What do you think?
Okay, so let me first start off with the challenges first, okay? So when we talk about challenges in this digital transformation journey, as the firm goes through its digital transformation journey, there will be a few key success factors. First is investing in the right technology. Second is having the right business model and strategy. And third, probably the toughest to do, is having a workforce with the right mindset and skill sets. So really, I think in CIMB, HR plays a key role in building, buying, and also borrowing 3D talents to ensure that we have the right skill sets to drive the firm's digital transformation agenda. So we'll need to develop some employees, acquire some talents on full-time, and even some on contract basis. But then in order to have people with the right mindset, this is really, really tough. So we'll need to kick in the whole change management process. So these are some of the challenges that I see in this digital transformation journey. To answer your next question, which is on the skills needed for today, I feel that whatever we do ultimately is to serve our customers better. So before we identify the skills needed, we first looked at our customers' behavior and needs first. So customers now expect us to anticipate their needs, to provide more efficient services, giving them more convenience and all. So in order to deliver all this, our employees in CIMB, we feel that they need to have that 3D skills. So our employees need to have skills to digitize our products, skills to translate data into meaningful insights, and also skills to design products that are centered around customers. So it's always back to that digital data and design skill sets. So for example, in CIMB, we have home financing Insta approval, where with just your IC, your loan can be approved within just a minute. But this is just a product, but behind the scene, in order to develop this product, we needed employees with design thinking, with UX, UI, data analytics, and also AI skill sets. So these are just some of the new skill sets that are needed today.
Thanks, Minchin. Maria, would you like to perhaps tell us about what you think are the skills most needed today to be part of the future of finance?
Yeah, sure. In my mind, I would think creativity, because robot currently can't compete with humans on creativity, and the future workplace is going to demand new ways of thinking, and human creativity is the key to it. But of course, besides that, emotional intelligence is also very important, because we have to exhibit high emotional intelligence if we have empathy, integrity, and work well with others. And a machine can't easily replace a human's ability to connect with another human being, right? And like what Minchin said, analytical skills is also very important, critical thinking, because nowadays there's abundance of data, but data without insights, there's no value to it. So at the very least, even though if you are not in a technical role, you need to understand how data can have impact in your job role, and also how emerging technologies will be able to change your organization or the role that you are in your organization. I think for fintech wise, analytics is also quite important, right? It's not about learning only finance, but now we're talking about finance analytics as well, or even accounting analytics. In fact, last year we did a workshop together with one of the accounting association to upskill accountants to see how to use analytics. They are learning, the workshop was on R, how to use R a programming language as an accountant to help you do analytics. So those are some examples that MDEX is also trying to champion and inculcate that analytics is very important regardless what functions or roles that you are within the organization.
Thanks, Maria. I think I see that the time is running so fast, and we've learned a lot. And the thing we have questions from the audience. I have my last question as well, but perhaps you can just very quickly answer to this, and then we'll have also the questions from the audience which are coming. So my fourth question is: what do you think are the technologies you see impacting jobs in finance, and what are your thoughts with people adapting to this digital era? So perhaps if you want to also give concrete example, perhaps of people who has been impacted, having a job being very traditional, make that transition, just so that people can understand. But we'd love to get your thought on this. Perhaps Maria, you want to share, and then after that, Mehmet and Minchin.
As I mentioned earlier on, technologies related to data are there. Yes. Nowadays, not necessary that you need to, of course, learning programming languages, knowing the fundamentals is important, but there are also many tools out there that makes things easier, that have end-to-end that you can just drop and drag and get the analytics done. We also see AI is impacting not only in finance, but in all areas. Right? I think business leaders will have to see how AI can impact and improve business processes and can enhance their revenue based on productivity increase. Perhaps I think Minchin and Mehmet have more example or success stories on how the organization.
Yes, Mehmet, you shared with me a very good example. Perhaps you can spend some time, sharing experience.
I'd share that example, and especially considering, the person who I'm talking about is a Malaysian, and she's attending the call. I wish she could speak for herself on this, but I will be her representative. So her name is Tasha, and she was working as a customer service representative in City Malaysia, and she became interested in something which is completely at the cutting edge, which is robotics. And we have here at City, we have something called City Robotics Academy, and she enrolled for that City Robotics Academy. She as a part of that, she also learned a lot about lean, and we have a specific lean methodology. We call it City Lean, and she collaborated with people to be able to bring the first bot in our global consumer bank. She had somebody who had no experience in robotics or technology. She was a customer service representative. And from there, she moved into a robotics technology role, which she's now currently doing. So I guess it just depends upon an individual's desire to learn and the keen desire to learn stuff which seemingly seems hard, but actually it isn't. It just requires you to focus and build the habit of picking up that particular skill by learning every day.
Thanks. I see a question that perhaps you'll help Minchin to answer as well. And please, now we are now getting questions from the audience, and I see quite a lot. So I have one question that I see from Tanya. I come from a non-technical background, but I want to get into finance. How can I start my journey?
You want me to answer that?
Yes, perhaps if you want.
Very quickly, I'll add. I think the advantages of today's digital world is you can learn anything. Like Maria talked about Coursera. Coursera has so many courses around finance and technologies in finance. And you could learn that. For somebody with a non-technical background, the only thing that's required, in my view, is, as I said, the desire to learn and the rigor and the discipline that requires you to learn things. I'll give you another example of an entrepreneur called Derek Sivers. Derek Sivers started some years back something called CD Baby. He was a musician and he couldn't sell his own music. And he started this site by learning PHP and HTML on his own. He was a musician. He didn't know anything about technology, but he had this keen desire to sell his own music. And now currently that website sells millions of music records for other independent artists. So it's just about building this habit of learning.
Yes. Minchin, would you like to perhaps share your views?
Yeah, just well, she doesn't have to worry about not being able to be accepted in banks. Well, just giving CIMB as an example, at the moment we just recruit just employees with banking and finance degree, because actually we are very hungry for people with 3D skill sets. So we recruit people with data background, people software engineers as well. So I think as long as like what Manmeet said, if you're willing to learn and take on these new future skills, I think you will be wanted by all sorts of organizations of any industry. So back to the questions, your earlier question on what are the technologies we see impacting jobs in finance, and thoughts on how people adapt. So if I talk about technology, people, we have AI, fintech, your RPA, your robotic process automation, all impact our jobs. So many jobs would disappear soon, whereas some jobs would evolve. So most of us actually have no choice, but we have to keep this, in order to keep this job, we really have to adapt. So I just want to give you an example, not specifically an individual, but a group of talents. So in the past, we have our risk experts sitting in group risk department, then we have got data scientists sitting in another department. So some have this problem where risk people don't understand data language, data people don't understand risk language. So, but now we realize that in order to achieve optimum results, we need to have a team of individuals with all these skill sets. An individual with risk, data analytics, and modeling capabilities. So last year, we groomed a group of identified risk talents to become data scientists. So these talents go through more than a year of learning journey to be developed as data scientists. And of course, besides assessments and a lot of studying to do, they will have projects to work on as well. So I got to say this is really, really not easy. You really have to study for it, and if you fail, then we will give you extra tuition and resit, and so that hopefully you can pass and move on to the next stage. So they do have a tough time learning these new skill sets, but they know they have to be reskilled to stay relevant. If they want to progress, that's the only way. So back to you.
Thanks, Minchin. I see two more questions, and I'll take the two of them. Perhaps, audience, you have other questions, but I see a questions coming from Anka, who is asking, what do you see as the greatest learning opportunity during pandemic and recession times? Maria, perhaps you want to jump into this question.
Yeah, thanks, Chaman. I believe right now information is everywhere. I think the easiest one is online learning, right? There are a lot of free resources out there. In fact, when COVID-19 hit us, MDEC started this page called Digital versus COVID, whereby we list down all our partners' training offerings, which are free or offered as a discounted rate to help those people who want to learn. Perhaps when they're at home, they have more time to learn on their own. Online is also good in the sense that it's flexible. It's that on your own time, as and when you like or you feel doing it. And a lot of content right now is also mobile friendly. So you can do it everywhere, not necessarily on your laptop, right? You can have a mobile phone with you, or maybe if you take public transport, you can also look through your phone. So it's quite flexible. What I'm trying to say is it's important to have a growth mindset, because the future of work needs to actively learn and grow. And a person with a growth mindset will understand that their abilities and intelligence can be developed, and they put in their effort to build skills to result in higher achievement. So they will therefore take on challenges, learn from mistakes, and actively seek new knowledge. So I would encourage everyone to have the growth mindset. Thank you.
So true. Thanks. Mamet, Minchin, your thought on this question?
Yeah, I guess the pandemic has put a reset button on many aspects of our lives. I remember when I used to go to office, I would actually listen to audiobooks on the way, and I really missed that. So I repurposed my life to actually repurposed my household chores to actually get to listen to audiobooks while I was washing the dishes. So I guess it's just about, in my view, one of the biggest learning opportunities this pandemic has brought is the fact that even though the amount of work that we are doing might have increased, especially for knowledge workers, but we still do have flexibility when it comes to work. We can choose to hit the pause button every once in a while and actually pick up something which we want to learn. And we can learn online, as Maria talked about. I've been, for the past 2 years, I've been learning French. And I have a 2 hour class in the morning, early morning. And after that, I start my work. It would not have been possible for me to do something like this when the pandemic was there, because it would involve traveling, coming back, and all of that. But so I guess there is time for us to learn. The only choice that we have is whether we should hit that Netflix series we want to see, or should we learn. And that's something which is which people have to kind of build that discipline.
Very good. Very true. Very true. Minchin, you want to jump into this question? I have another one, and I know that we have quite a lot of, the time is running, but I also have one question coming from Richard. So perhaps, Minchin, you want to start, but first, thank you, audience, for all your questions, but I'll just take one last. I do have one that I'd like to ask, but that one from the audience is coming from Richard. How can upskilling be part of the entire organization? We've seen most cases where upskilling only involves the management or the C-suite level individuals. What do you think? Minchin.
Okay, this is really, I got to say, it's really not easy. So what we did was, when we launched our 3D Academy, it was not easy to create that awareness. So I think what's the critical success factors? Number one is top management, senior management buy-in is very important, right? So I think, so tone from the top, senior management buy-in, important, number one. Number two is really create the awareness. So we had town hall sessions just to create awareness, because people need to know that it is important, right? What is evolving with IR 4.0, and also people needs to be educated on what's happening out there and why is it so important that they have to be upskilled. So that awareness, all those town hall sessions also did happen. So number three, of course, after awareness, we have to make sure that the offerings and the programs are all available for them as well. So again, it is because in a huge organization, you have people of numerous levels, so different languages as well. So certain offerings, we provide multiple languages. So different contents are tweaked. That's why I said we had foundation, intermediate, and advanced level. So we must have available suite of program for all. And there is always carrot and stick as well, right? So we rewards, we have got campaigns, we have got rewards as well. And in fact, we offer digital training hours subsidy as well. So nowadays, everyone who trains, not just trains and attend programs virtually, they are given incentives, subsidy as well. So again, there is rewards, there is subsidy given, and there is also stick for certain foundation modules. We make it compulsory for everyone to go through, and for some programs we make it into their KPI as well. So sometimes no choice. With so many people, sometimes carrot alone may not work for all. So that's why the balancing of carrot and stick, and senior management, tone from the top, and creating awareness is important.
Thanks, Minchin. What's happening at Citi, Madmet?
I'll give you an example of Paco. Paco Yabara is the Chief Executive Officer for the Institutional Clients Group. And you can imagine it's a busy role. It's something, which would leave little time for learning for normal people. But Paco is learning Python. And in fact, he has a Paco's Python pathway on our degree, which a lot of people follow. My point is, until unless, as Ming Chin said, until unless senior management shows real seriousness in terms of upskilling, most people in the organization would not follow suit. But yes, we have examples like Paco. A lot of other people in the senior management have realized that they need to show exemplary leadership when it comes to learning as well. So I guess one key part of it is the senior management walking the talk. The other aspect is making it easy for our learners to learn, and learning is not easy. Upskilling is not easy. So with dedicated programs like AI and finance, we have with another vendor, for example, something called Data Academy, which is an 18-month course. People who are going through that course will actually ultimately become data scientists for their respective departments. So there is there's a commitment from their managers as well that they will be around 10% of the time which would be devoted to this particular training, and it's a long training. It's 18 months of work. So it involves a significant investment when it comes to employee resources as well.
Thanks very much. I know we are almost at the end. So Maria, if you want to share about your take on this, what do you think in terms of senior management, and how do you upskill the whole organization and not just what's your take on this?
Yeah, I believe senior management support is, of course, very important. Like in MDAC, as an employee, we are also given access to use LinkedIn to learn, and also Mindvalley as well. So it has to come from the top, right? They offer this kind of offerings to the employees. But I must say that for online learning, the completion rate sometimes is pretty low, right? So you need to have motivation to learn. Perhaps the employee must given a certain goal to complete certain tasks, and they will try to achieve that. And another very powerful way to complete completion is, we notice, is peer learning. So perhaps that you can get a group of friends to start a course with you together. Then you have the motivation that you can discuss with each other. Because when we did a few years back a Coursera program that is a 1 year long, we realized that we need to have blended learning. That means not only online, but we also bi-weekly we offer them, they can come to a place to meet, and there's a facilitator to guide them. So we noticed with that assistance, especially for those technical courses, the completion rate will be higher. Just now I saw some questions asking for what are other free learning resources besides Coursera. Just I want to share a few. Yes. If you're looking for those data related one, you can check out Data Camp. Usually they will give free trial of 14 days before you start their subscription. All these online, usually they are more affordable, and some they do offer for free, unless if you want to have the certificate, then you have to pay for it. There are many others like EDX, Udacity, Udemy, and even, in fact, some other vendors like Microsoft, Google, SaaS, all of them have their own online academy as well, and sometimes they also have some promo period, which is very affordable.
Thanks, Maria. I was very impressed by the initiative supported by MDEC to help young talent. We were looking to it. I was actually discovering WOB, which is the effort to ensure that the right talent is matched with the digital career. And it's a great matching process. And I saw that there were around a data board with over hundreds of different jobs in creativity, in software developer, cybersecurity, data, digital marketing. Very impressive. So whoever would like, to find jobs opportunity in Malaysia, WOB, supported by MNEC, it's a great platform. I just wanted to say thank you so much to Maria, to Minchin, to Mehmet, for your time, for your valuable time. I appreciate a lot. We've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. And of course, thanks very much, audience, for spending this session with all of us. And I will like now pass the mic back to Junji, who will be talking about the tools available to help with reskilling, and some may even call it upskilling. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So speakers, firstly, thank you so much for today. And also thank you everyone. I hope you found this insightful. So now talking more about the tools available at disposal. So if you look at the QR code below, please feel free to please feel free to actually scan them, and it will redirect you directly to our webpage where you can actually find more information regarding our company or even our courses as well. If you want to learn more about fintech, the good thing is that, as Maria mentioned, there's a lot of free content available out there. At CFTE, we designed a fintech specialization course with 18 industry experts for participants to gain a holistic understanding of the technologies set to shape the future of finance. The course is self-paced, online, and it allows participants to learn from people building the world of finance of tomorrow. So them being CEO of startups, regulators, VCs, and many more. Moreover, we have also co-created with Ngee Polytechnic the largest online course in artificial intelligence in finance in the world. And just last month, we released our latest course on open banking platforms in finance that will actually allow participants to as well learn from leading industry professionals from all around the world. And next, we are also offering a lot of free content through our masterclasses and other events all year long. So please do not hesitate to check out our website and register to our newsletters. Finally, I would really like to say thanks a lot to all of you. I hope you found this insightful. So firstly, let me thanking MDEC and all the speakers who have participated today. If you need any further information, please visit us at www.cft.education for more amazing content. Thanks everyone for participating today. Have a good day wherever you are and stay safe. So lastly, we'll leave this webinar on for approximately 20 to 25 minutes. So if you have any other questions related to MDEC or CFTE, one of my colleagues will be in the chat box to help assist you. Thank you.